Well, the House Select Committee just had its 8th primetime hearing focusing on the former president's actions on January 6th. This is the committee released video testimony alleging that the former president sat in a small dining room off the Oval Office for hours watching the violence unfold on Fox News and did nothing to call off the mob. Joining us now to discuss this and more is Tennessee Congressman and Representative Chuck Fleischmann. Congressman, great to have you with us. I want to start by asking this question because all of this is getting pushed forward. The committee's announced it's going to resume these hearings in the fall, and this is something that Democrats had originally wanted to avoid so close to the midterms. What do you think their intention is right now with continuing these hearings?
It's partisan political theater. The committee's gone 0 for 8. I voted against this committee from the inception. I want the American people to know the Senate has nothing like this. This House committee was set up largely by Pelosi, for the Democrats' political gain, and has really been a charade and has hurt, I think, the public's confidence in the American government system. I will say this. I'm saddened by what they're doing. They're going to probably continue on. The reality is the Biden-Pelosi-Schumer agenda has failed America in a way that I have never seen it failed before. They're resorting to this political theater to try to revive their base. It is not working. It's not working in America. They need to shut it down. It's a sham.
And I want to get your reaction to, I was actually in the hearing room on Thursday's hearing, and that was the first time for me because, like other Americans who are watching, I've been watching this play out on television. I want you to look at this video here of the audience laughing at Holly fleeing the Capitol that day. I want to get your reaction to that.
Well, it's a shame. The January 6 events, which I condemned and continue to condemn, were bad for America. There's no question about that. But this all plays into the fact that this is political theater put on by the Democrats for the Democrats. Again, I'm saddened. I'm an attorney by profession. I take the rule of law and hearings very seriously. There's no ability to cross-examine witnesses. This committee refuses to allow cross-examination. It's hearsay based on hearsay. He said, she said, we think somebody said, and they draw their own conclusions. It has really hurt the sanctity of congressional oversight hearings and the like because it's a sham. And again, you'll see this in the fall. As their poll numbers drop on the Democratic side, they will try to revive this again. And remember what they're trying to do. There's Democrats on this committee that want to try to overrule the Electoral College. They want to install their federal election czar. It's becoming an all-inclusive, radical left-wing witch hunt. It's wrong. The American people are a lot wiser than this committee. They realize it's a sham. We will show them at the ballot box when Republicans win the House, the Senate, and finally, this charade will go away.
Congressman, we reported earlier this week on an amendment that was authored by Democratic Congressman Adam Schiff to the National Defense Authorization Act that would conceal information collected by the military for use in congressional and court proceedings. What impact do you think that would have on congressional oversight, particularly when it comes to January 6th or the border crisis if Republicans regain majorities in November?
Well, I can assure you we will regain the majority in the House in November. And when we take over, we're going to make sure that the rule of law is upheld, that if we have hearings, they will be legitimate hearings. But in all due respect to Congressman Schiff, anything he does, I abhor. And this is another one of those instances. There's just no credibility there. His earlier actions against our great former president, Donald Trump, proved to be fruitless. He said a lot of things that never came into fruition. Why? Because he was wrong. They have been about partisanship, above patriotism to this country. The American people, and I'm not just talking about conservative Republicans like me, but people in the center and disaffected Democrats are going to punish them rightfully in the fall because of this charade. And for once and for all, we'll retire Nancy Pelosi. We'll put Schiff on the back burner. Republicans will lead, but we will lead in the right way that Americans can be proud of this country again.
We heard, going back to, again, the argument that this is largely political, these are not legal proceedings. We heard testimony from a former White House employee with national security responsibilities who wanted to remain anonymous. His voice was distorted and his picture was not used in the video testimony that was played, but he was used by the committee to corroborate Cassidy Hutchinson's claim that there was an altercation between the president on January 6th and a member of the Secret Service where he demanded to be taken to the Capitol. Certainly, House Republicans have blasted this, saying that there are no actual Secret Service agents testifying, but there have been some Secret Service agents that the committee says have now sought counsel. I mean, would that make this more legitimate if they actually had an account coming from a member of the Secret Service, maybe somebody, if that were to be true, were involved in that confrontation, the alleged confrontation with the president?
We can never give this January 6th committee any iota, not one iota of legitimacy. It was wrong from the inception. I voted against it. Many of my colleagues did. Remember, the Senate didn't want this. They didn't have one. And there are other legitimate federal investigations ongoing into January 6th. So this is a charade. So nothing in my view would give this legitimacy. However, bear in mind, as a lawyer, there's been no cross-examination. These alleged witnesses that are coming up are not even hearsay. It's pure speculation. That's why when you have something from the inception, like this committee, that is a sham, it's political theater, what do you expect from that? Results that are tainted. It's the fruit of the poisonous tree, as we would say legally. It is wrong from the inception. There is no way that this committee should ever be given any form of legitimacy by the American people. It's political theater. It's to cover the frailties of a failed radical left-wing Democratic agenda. The American people will fix this in November when they say a resounding no to not only the radical left-wing Democrats, but this charade that they have played. And I assure you, when we take over, Republicans will respect the rule of law. Republicans will have hearings, and I will have hearings as an appropriator that we will absolutely make sure are fair and comply with proper legal proceeding requirements.
Really